Okay, so there are 7 cruises, 7 completely different experiences. 4 of them have already sold out, or sit nearly there as I record this. And the price range alone tells a story worth understanding. We're talking anywhere from $2,000 to $45,000 for a single cabin. But here's what most people get wrong about that spread. The price tag doesn't determine the experience. The type of cruise does. And that distinction is exactly what I'm breaking down today. Welcome. Welcome to Cruise Edition. Let's go. Seven specific sailings in 2026 have caught my attention, and I'll tell you exactly which ones match what you're actually looking for. Some of these might leave you disappointed if you book without understanding what you're getting into, so let me walk you through each one with the details that actually matter. Before I cover any specific cruise, there's something critical most people miss entirely. The adult cruise market splits into 2 completely different worlds that share almost nothing beyond the clothing optional label. Naturist cruises focus entirely on body positivity and the freedom of being clothing optional, which means sexual activity is prohibited and they'll remove you from the ship if you cross that line. Lifestyle cruises incorporate varying degrees of adult intimacy, playrooms, and themed events designed around couples exploring together. I've watched people book the wrong type and come back confused, uncomfortable, or just plain disappointed by what they found. A couple looking for a relaxed, clothing-optional beach vibe accidentally books a swinger cruise and feels pressured all week long. Someone curious about the lifestyle scene ends up on a naturist sailing, where that curiosity has nowhere to go. The experience you're paying for depends entirely on understanding which category you're entering before you hand over your credit card. Big Nude Boat launches February 9th through the 20th, 2026, running an 11-night sailing on Norwegian Pearl out of Miami. Bare Necessities started operating nude cruises back in 1990, which means 35 years of figuring out what works. Their repeat customer rate sits at 70%, and that number tells me something about consistency that marketing claims never could. What caught my attention first was the itinerary itself. Great Stirrup Cay appears twice during the voyage, and passengers get exclusive nude beach access at Norwegian's private island both times. The route also includes Curaçao, Bonaire, Aruba, and Jamaica, with the timing putting you on the water through Valentine's Day and Mardi Gras. That shapes the onboard programming in ways the brochure doesn't fully explain. Pricing starts around $2,000 per person for interior cabins and climbs past $33,000 per person for garden villas. Those base prices don't include port taxes running roughly $284 or prepaid gratuities at $221 per person. And alcohol isn't included the way some competitors handle it. Their positioning earns my respect for one reason above all others, and that's clarity. Official policy states directly that if you're seeking a lifestyle or swinger experience, this isn't the appropriate cruise for you. They enforce that. The towel rule applies everywhere. Photography without consent is prohibited, and they've built a reputation for genuine respect around personal boundaries over 3 decades. Anyone wanting clothing-optional freedom without lifestyle pressure should recognize this as the established option. FantaSea Connections interests me because it's a first-time sailing with all the uncertainty that brings. February 11th through 17th on Margaritaville at Sea Islander, departing Tampa for Belize and Grand Cayman. Right. Connections Travel has operated since 1994, but this specific cruise concept is brand new to the market. The ship underwent a $150 million renovation completed in May 2024, And the infrastructure sounds promising, with 12 restaurants and 13 bars spread across the vessel. Pricing ranges from $2,098 for a partial ocean view cabin up to over $13,000 for suites, with those figures representing total cabin cost for 2 guests. What shifts the value calculation here is what's included. All meals, basic beverages, gratuities, playroom access, and 24-hour room service come with your fare before you pay anything extra. Drink packages cost extra though, so factor that into your budget before comparing against competitors. Theme nights they've announced include Naughty Nautical, Fetish Fantasy, Back to the Future, Valentine's themed, Glow Night, and Disney Freaky. I need to flag something about their documentation though. Their policies aren't as clearly spelled out as established operators provide. The singles policy uses couples language throughout, but I couldn't find an explicit statement either way. What they make extremely clear is that any sex in public areas means removal at the next port with no refund. Inaugural sailings carry a specific energy that comes with being among the first, but genuine uncertainty about execution travels alongside that excitement. That's the trade-off anyone considering this cruise needs to weigh. The Bliss Cruise Sexy Sampler on Radiance of the Seas represents something happening in this market that deserves attention even though you can't book it anymore. February 23rd through 27th sold out completely, with that 4-night couples-only lifestyle cruise running from Fort Lauderdale to Nassau finding more demand than available cabins. Bliss introduced this shorter format specifically as a gateway experience for couples new to lifestyle cruising. The company started operating in 2014, and Russell Stevens acquired it in February 2025, building what's become the largest U.S. adult lifestyle charter business. This 4-night sampler format clearly hit demand they anticipated. Entry-level interest in lifestyle cruising is growing, and shorter sailings remove the commitment barrier that keeps some couples from trying a full week. Anyone curious but not ready for a 7-night voyage should watch for similar formats in 2027. The concept works, and Bliss just couldn't sell it to everyone who wanted in this time. If you're finding this breakdown useful, consider subscribing. I cover adult cruising topics that most channels won't touch with the honest perspective you need to make real decisions. Now, let me get into the cruises still available for 2026. Temptation Grand Cruise runs March 29th through April 3rd, 2026, on Norwegian Pearl again, departing Miami for Costa Maya and Great Stirrup Cay. This is the rebranded Temptation Grand Cruises from Original Group, the company behind Temptation Resorts since 1974, and their pricing model distinguishes them immediately. The unlimited open-bar beverage package comes included with every cabin. Cocktails, top-shelf liquor, wine, beer, soft drinks, water, all of it covered without reaching for your wallet. Prepaid gratuities come included too. When I calculated comparable costs across competitors, this inclusion shifts the math significantly in their favor. $29.50 total for 2 guests gets you into interior staterooms. Veranda staterooms run around $40.50, and Haven suites climb to nearly $32,000. That's genuinely all-inclusive for onboard consumption though, which changes what those numbers mean compared to base prices elsewhere. Clothing optional policy covers designated areas only, with pool decks allowing topless optional, a solarium, a designated fully nude hotspot area, and a playroom. All other public spaces require clothing throughout the sailing. Passenger reviews I researched consistently praised the party atmosphere and DJ quality. Criticism focused on playroom design, specifically mattresses on floors without private areas, and some found theme nights felt more collegiate than sophisticated. That's a legitimate consideration depending on the vibe you're seeking from a lifestyle experience. Celebrity Silhouette carries roughly 2,900 passengers for the April 26th through May 2nd Bliss charter, running 6 nights from Fort Lauderdale to Jamaica and Cozumel. Pricing starts at $15.25 per person for interior cabins, with mandatory fees of $4.95 per person added for port charges, taxes, and gratuities. Your cheapest total cabin cost lands around $4,040 after everything's counted. Two shore excursion announcements caught my attention during research. Bliss confirmed a private beach takeover in Jamaica, clothing optional and all-inclusive for the day. They also secured a total takeover of Playa Mia Beach Resort in Cozumel. These exclusive beach experiences often sell out before the ship even departs, so early booking matters if that's part of your plan for the sailing. Cancellation policy tightens considerably after October 27, 2025, when refunds disappear entirely. Name changes after manifest submission cost $125. They're serious about commitment once you're in. Security can confiscate cameras for review if they observe unauthorized photography anywhere on the ship. 1,400 cameras with facial recognition monitoring run throughout the vessel. Privacy enforcement at this level tells you something about the clientele they're protecting and the seriousness of maintaining discretion. KK Cruises represents an entirely different philosophy, sailing June 9th through 16th, 2026, through the Mediterranean from Barcelona through Monte Carlo, Florence, Portofino, Mallorca, and back. Killing Kittens started operating in 2005 out of London, with a membership between 100,000 and 150,000 people worldwide now. 19 years of land-based events built their reputation before launching cruises. Their female-first philosophy distinguishes everything about the experience. Single women and trans or non-binary individuals are welcome aboard. Single men are not permitted under any circumstances. Policy states directly that single male guests will not be permitted to board without a female, trans, or non-binary partner, and no refund comes if you show up solo expecting to talk your way aboard. Pricing runs higher than Caribbean options at every cabin level. Interior cabins start at £5,000, roughly $6,300 at current exchange. Premium drinks and Wi-Fi come included, along with one KK party per night. Suites already sold out during my research, leaving only a few cabins remaining available. The Mediterranean itinerary itself offers something Caribbean sailings can't match, with historic European ports combined with lifestyle programming throughout. Themed nights include a masked ball in Monte Carlo, creatures of the night in Florence, and a red hedonism pool party at sea. Couples or qualifying singles seeking lifestyle experiences with European sophistication and smaller passenger counts, around 700 to 800 versus thousands on Caribbean options, will find this fills a specific niche nothing else covers. November 9th through 16th, 2026. Wonder of the Seas stopped me during research for one simple reason. The third largest cruise ship in the world, at 236,000 gross tons, normally carries over 5,700 passengers. Bliss is chartering it for approximately 6,000 to 6,700 guests, making this the largest lifestyle cruise in history. Interior cabins start at $1,745 per person. Add the mandatory $495 fee, and your minimum total cabin cost reaches $4,480. Royal Loft Suites run over $22,000 per person at the top end, putting total cabin cost past $45,000 for couples wanting the best accommodations available. 8 distinct neighborhoods spread across the ship, with over 20 restaurants, 11 bars, 4 pools, flow rider surf simulators, a 10-story slide, and a zip line spanning 9 decks. This isn't a cruise ship with lifestyle events bolted on as an afterthought. It's an entertainment complex that happens to be clothing optional in designated areas. Playroom layout based on their 2024 Symphony sailing includes the Solarium, operating roughly 22 hours daily, an indoor climate-controlled playroom with a couples-only newbie section, a BDSM and fetish space called The Dungeon, and a converted youth zone for adult activities. Bliss extended the Aruba departure time from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. specifically to allow more excursion flexibility. Small decisions like that suggest they're listening to passenger feedback and adjusting accordingly. This is already one of Bliss Cruise's fastest-selling charters ever. Anyone drawn to wonder of the seas should understand that hesitation costs availability on a sailing this popular. Comparing all 7 cruises side by side revealed patterns worth understanding. Best value with drinks included goes clearly to Temptation Grand at $29.50 total with unlimited open bar. Most intimate setting belongs to KK Cruises at 700 to 800 passengers versus 2,000 to 6,000 on everything else. Big Nude Boat offers the longest sailing at 11 nights and the clearest option for anyone concerned about lifestyle pressure. What the marketing never tells you shows up in reviewer comments across multiple lifestyle cruises. One described the experience as floating Tinder, where effort is required to make connections. Another wrote about 6,600 grown adults afraid of rejection. The atmosphere permits exploration, but nobody guarantees chemistry or comfort on any of these sailings. The misconception I see constantly involves people assuming clothing optional means naked everywhere. Every single cruise requires clothing in main dining rooms, during port calls, and often in elevators and indoor common areas. Only designated deck and pool areas allow full freedom on any vessel. First, understand whether you want naturist freedom or lifestyle exploration, because they're not the same market, and confusing them leads to disappointment. Calculate your total cost, including drinks if not covered, gratuities if separate, and mandatory port fees, because the advertised price is never the final price. Check availability now if anything caught your attention, because 4 of these 7 cruises have already sold out or sit nearly there. What I appreciate about this segment of cruising is the honesty it demands from everyone involved. You can't pretend you're booking a Caribbean vacation when you're really curious about the lifestyle. You can't fake comfort with nudity and expect to relax. These cruises require knowing yourself before you book. The 7 sailings I've outlined give you genuine options across naturist, lifestyle, all-inclusive, European, entry-level, and mega-ship formats. The right choice depends entirely on what experience you're actually seeking, not what sounds impressive to describe later. Drop a comment and let me know what questions you still have about any of these sailings.